Heads up, because you are in the Hoodwood. I'm the Black Man, KJ Green. And normally, Sports from the Hoodwood would be going into all sorts of details on what's going on in the sporting world this week. But I really don't feel like it. It's one of those things where a lot of stuff is going on in the world today. I know with a lot of the racial animosity that's going on, a lot of anger, a lot of discord, a lot of there's violence in some places. And I felt and I wondered, was there anything that I could possibly do? And I wanted to look at what is behind some of these protests, what's behind what the sporting world is doing in response to these protests, and really dig and do a deep dive into them and really have a frank discussion about what can you do, what can I do, what can we do collectively as a community, as a people, as a nation, because there's a lot of people hurting right now. And while sports can do a lot of healing, while sports can do a lot of uniting, right now, sports really doesn't mean that much. And this is coming from someone who loves to talk about sports, loves to debate about sports. I mean, with the NBA and NHL playoffs going on, baseball getting set for its stretch drive, NFL just around the corner, college football still bubbling on the surface, there's a lot to discuss. But frankly, it really doesn't mean as much. And we need to really have a frank discussion. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll just start the show like normal, and we will just try to have a frank discussion and dive into it. Just me, just you, and just Snuffy back there. But we really do need to talk. This is Sports from the Hood. Let's go. Greetings from Hoodwood. And usually I try to keep it light, try to keep it as laid back as possible, because with all the crazy shit that's been going on in the world, you need a respite and somewhere to just kind of kick back, relax, and talk sports. This week, I guess this show is going to be, I don't know. I almost didn't do the show this week. I mean, Wednesday, the day I'm taping the show, the NBA playoffs were scheduled. There was a number of pretty important games going on in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And in the Milwaukee-Orlando series, the Bucks decided they weren't going to play. Now, this happened about 3:30 Eastern. And when I read it, I was at work, at my day job, and I read it and I'm thinking, this is going to snowball. This is really going to snowball. This is going to be something that is going to get larger, and it's going to get more vocal. And when I was on my way home from work, and I was talking to my friend Daryl, and he's been on the show before, and I raised the point of what is protesting or boycotting a game going to prove. And he made the point of that these players can bring power, they can bring a voice, and they can turn the screws on the NBA owners for them to bring pressure to other politicians. And while I think that is a noble cause, I still fail to see the point of, okay, we're playing basketball. Now we're not playing basketball because people are dying at the hands of police repeatedly. But I still fail to see the point of where not playing basketball is going to prevent or stop senseless shootings by police, and how that's going to make any kind of real change or foster any change. And don't get me wrong. Please don't get me wrong. I'm about protest. I'm all in on it. I'm about being a voice for social justice. I am a tireless advocate for getting the vote out. But in a larger sense, to me, sports is a distraction. And a lot of people said, and Kyrie Irving had said that oh, this is going to be a distraction and no one's going to pay attention after this. We need to just not play. To me, playing and still putting a voice out is the best thing that you can do. Continuing to have Black Lives Matter on the court, holding the collective public's feet to the fire, and not letting the pressure off is something that I think will help to foster change. Now, my queries and thoughts on this were, okay, now you've protested again. You didn't play. Now, this has covered a lot of sports. On Wednesday, August 26th, the NBA canceled its slate, postponed its slate of games. The WNBA postponed its slate of games. There were a number of Major League Baseball games that postponed. Most notably, the Cincinnati Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers up in Miller Park in Milwaukee. They postponed it. And I keep wondering, okay, now that you've done that, what next? What is the game plan going forward with this? What do you plan to do? What is it that you plan to make of this? Okay, you don't play. Now what? Again, I stress that I want to be at the forefront of sweeping change. That while I've never had any real affection or love for police, I do have a number of friends who work in the police sector. I respect that they have dedicated their careers to public service. And I have called out on cops. Why don't you speak up? Why is it that you're so quick to defend cops who do wrong things and say, well, if they just comply and everything? If you know the law, if you're a good cop, you're looking for justice on all fronts, whether it be on the police front or being on the public sector front. And to cover for cops who knowingly break the law or do things in guise of enforcing the law, quote unquote, you wonder if, the cops are all only just looking out for themselves. And I often wonder, why don't more cops speak up? It's a question I pose to other cops, and more often than not, I get the, you don't know what it's like. Why don't you come along, take a ride along with me, and I'll show you what it's really like. Me personally, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in PR. I'm not interested in the good look. What I'm interested in is police serving neighborhoods that they supposedly protect. Have an issue with police that don't live in their neighborhoods. You live in a tough neighborhood, but you don't live in, you live way out in the suburbs. Well, I earned the right to live out there because I think good money. But you have you have a strong disconnect with that neighborhood. The only thing you know about the neighborhood is what's bad. I've always said, police should live in their neighborhoods that they control. Because I think they would have a better understanding of the neighborhood and what makes it safe. Now you can say, well, how does this relate to sports? Okay. Sports has the way of uniting people, bringing issues to bear. Social issues. No one says anything when Major League Baseball all wear 42 one day to honor Jackie Robinson. When Jackie Robinson first broke the color barrier in 1947, he was considered a troublemaker. He had to take racial abuse, constant racial abuse. Every city that he played in, he got some lip, some stronger than others. Cities like Philadelphia, St. Louis, and some places in Cincinnati gave him a lot of animosity the first thing he played. Jackie Robinson is now considered one of baseball's greatest players, a racial pioneer. His number 42 is no longer worn in Major League Baseball. Mariano Rivera retired a few years back. He was the last one to wear 42. Major League Baseball wears 42 in honor of Jackie Robinson's sacrifice and courage. But if you look at it and say, well, sports needs to unite us. Sports doesn't need to divide us. It doesn't need to rattle around and do social things. Sports has done nothing but been a forefront for social change. From the integration of baseball, from the integration of football, breaking unspoken color lines, to pushing for social change. Sports has been that platform, and it needs to be more of that platform going forward. And I applaud players like LeBron James, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who have spoken very forcefully about the situation at hand of what's going on in the nation today and how they can be proponents for social justice. Unlike what Laura Ingraham had said about shut up and dribble, I think that players who say little and just shut up and dribble are the ones that need to be called out. Because yes, they make millions of dollars. Yes, they make lots of money playing the game. But on that stage comes a great responsibility because you can foster change. Let's take time out. Come back and let's look at possibly solutions. What can be done going forward? What will be done going forward? Let's move with the continue after this. You are back in Hoodwood. My name is KJ Green, and we'll keep this last segment kind of short because, to be perfectly honest, I'm searching for some solutions, searching for answers. And I want to hear from the people in Hoodwood. What is your opinion? What do you think is going to be the best way for people to protest what's going on with the seeming endless confrontations between people of color and law enforcement? And I've had confrontations with law enforcement. Nothing, thankfully, to the extreme that someone like Jackie Clark or Breonna Taylor or George Floyd or Sandra Bland or Tamir Rice. And to be perfectly honest, you get tired. And I've had to explain this to people who defend actions that the police have. And again, let me stress that the animosity that I have isn't for the number, and I mean high number of dedicated cops that do their job, that protect and serve, and are looking out for the well-being of the people in general. And for the most part, people of color don't have an issue with the police. What they have is the issue of being stereotyped, being looked at instantly as a criminal. And me personally, now I'm 3 weeks from my 40th birthday. I am a college graduate. I work a decent IT job. I bother no one. I'm a sports guy. I like watching sports. But I have been hemmed up by the police, suspected of having drugs, suspected of being somewhere where I wasn't supposed to be. And to express the fear and worry and dread that I have when I've been in confrontation with police is something that is about as indescribable as anything in the world. Princess Kate, the one that's on the left-hand side in the picture of her when she's 14. She's 15, I'm sorry. When that happened. But she has told me on numerous occasions that she worries for my safety as a black man. I worry for my safety sometimes too. I don't break the law. I have no intentions of breaking the law. I don't bother anybody. Breaking the law is too expensive. I like being out and about and doing what I want to do. So I don't get into trouble. I try to stay out of trouble. But the worry that she expressed and the righteous worry that some people have is powerful. And it's something that trying to explain to others who have never felt that, and the anger that people see when another person gets shot, and it's almost to a point where we're numb to it. Anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks pass by and another name gets added to this seemingly endless roll call of people who have had interactions with police and have lost their lives or have been gravely injured. What is it that we as a people need to do collectively? Holding the police more accountable, demanding more of ourselves as a people? There are a lot of questions here, and the solutions are few and far between. My email address is kjgreen@blackbanditproductions.com. I welcome your comments, your thoughts, your questions. I put this podcast out more often than not to foster discussion. This particular show, I want to be able to foster discussion. If you agree, disagree with me, say so. I have no problem with bringing you on the show and discussing topics with you. And we need to talk amongst ourselves. We need to be better. I'm on Twitter, KJgreen20. I'll back. I'm on, try to get on every week. I'm on a number of sources, including Spotify, Amazon, we're back on Amazon Prime, but it's Amazon, their music thing. We're on a number of venues. Drop me a line, check out the show. Next week, hopefully, things will have calmed down some so I can go back to talking about the mundane world of sports. Me and you play. I did get a chance to talk with my friend Dustin. We talked about college football. I have that here. We'll talk about that next week. But for now, let's talk. Let's listen to one another. We need to have frank and sometimes painful discussions about what's going on. We need to talk, we need to listen. That's the show for this week. Okay, we're reading. Okay, next week.